And in the same group down it says we have a tendency to group together materials having the same or similar tendency, same form as aid to memory. Robert Funk, a director of the Westar Institute, his comments said, academically accepted cataloging methods which depend on careful research are for the best part ignored. And going on a little bit, he says, one should not become a prisoner of one's own method. And he goes on a little further talking about research. He says, I'm going on actually. This is, proper research habits are important. In our arts, we are cursed with information derived from opinions looking for evidence. You understand that? And that's really a horrendous thing. And then it's going on that the eminent theologian Kuhn noted the distinction between theology and history, and a former's propensity to parade itself as the latter. History and theology are not the same thing, and when theology declares itself to be history, you got yourself a problem. And we have the theology of the martial arts that declares itself to be history, and if nothing but opinions are out looking for evidence to sustain itself. And so consequently, we become a victim of our own method. And then when we go to the fighting, and guys like the Joe Louis and these guys come up and they interrupt that, they're rightfully so. Even though their interruption may be wrong, they're correct to interrupt. Okay, now is there any comment on what I said there? Anybody want to comment on the degree of veracity with that? Well, and then going on, as you see, page 13, 14, 15 is a really going on about a mean. I will read just a slight bit about this. Well, matter of fact, I'll skip the means. You can read that for yourself. But I will go on to understanding stupidity on page 615, and I'll make a little comment here, and I want to read this to you. In the epistemological context, stupidity is a failure to gather and use information efficiently. Traditionally, self-deception has been considered only in terms of the use or abuse of information present within a cognitive system. That is, a person would have to know something in order to deceive himself about it. However, we must acknowledge it is also self-deception, i.e. misleading, and usually stupid for one to refuse to gather new relevant information about matters of importance. Thus, when considering stupidity in relationship to knowledge and data processing, it is imperative to distinguish between the related phenomena of agnosticism and ignorance. Agnosticism is a word by Huxley's word, actually it's not a really old word. Both words may be used to indicate a condition of not knowing, but they describe different ways of maintaining that condition. Pure, innocent agnosticism is not really stupid, in that it does not indicate an inability or unwillingness to learn. Agnosticism is a cognitive state when information is unavailable to an individual or not present in the environment in a form discernible as the sensory apparatus of the living system. So this is what you have to, but they describe different ways of maintaining ignorance. And for karate people, the skill of maintaining ignorance is legend. We have a tremendous skill of maintaining ignorance. Isn't that right? We only practice what we know, and to practice it the way we know it. But if that's wrong, what else can we do? And you've taken a step forward here because you're trying to figure it out today. But that doesn't just hold true here, it holds true everywhere. As a matter of fact, it probably holds true more precisely in our educational places, right? And going on here a little bit to go to the elevation, we become victim of the elevation of the process over the search for truth. And because it seems to be the greatest way to reveal the greatest degree of truth, the opposite of confrontation is thought to best evoke the various possibilities of truth. So in our thing, when we have a way of revealing the degree of truth, or we can reveal the possibilities of the truth, there's a different thing. There's a difference between the truth and the possibilities of truth. And they're resolved by research. That's what the chemists are busy doing. Isn't that right? Sure. further. Okay, now I'm going to talk about David Duke's. This is atomic physics, and I think that it's on page 623, and this is one of the really sharp things. And I'm going to read this in total, and then not much more of this. But this is important talking because I'm making a point about symbolic functions and the uses of symbolic analogies and how we go about determining what we're going to do. So when I'm teaching you, these people that aren't here, for example, imagine that they can learn because they're using your experience. The fact that you're here learning somehow reaches their minds. And I associate with Mike Dunphy quite a bit. There's no question of that. But I don't have a degree in chemistry. And his knowledge of chemistry doesn't bump me here, though the methods maybe. So to think that because your teacher is learning, that makes you learn, that is a real mistake. You must be learning too to understand your learning teacher. Because you can only understand your teacher if you have a core knowledge and you're using the same terminology. If you're using different terminology and the core knowledge is different, you can't understand the teacher. You may be inculcated in that in a really long period of time, by real close association, which is Bob Saul and I've been over many years, or Pat Hickey over the years, or Pam. But it's very difficult to just simply come out and do that. Because in these days, we don't spend that time with our teachers. We used to spend 3-4 hours a day, 4 or 5 days a week, and these days are gone. They don't come anymore. And then the ones that couldn't understand the knowledge were gleefully driven out of the gym with broken ribs. What do you laugh about? It's too true. You remember, Michael, was that true? Yeah, I put 10 people in the hospital in 1 week. They came in and told me I was going to bankrupt the dojo, you know? It was just about to say, you're going to kill somebody, you know, this guy. We were fighting the conclusions, you know. We fight and we grab him, we rip down the board and sit on him. I had this Kenny, somebody down there. He come tearing out. I took bench down to stab on him too, and they came over screaming and hollering. They're going to kill everybody. Bad with life. Anyway, we should talk about it. Imagination is a straightforward form of virtual reality. What may not be so obvious is that our direct experience of the world through our senses is virtual reality too. For our external experience is never direct, nor do we even experience the signals in our nerves directly. We would not know what to make of the streams of electrical crackles that they carry. What we experience directly is a virtual reality rendering conveniently generated for us by our unconscious mind from sensory data, plus complex inborn and acquired theories about how to interpret them. We realists take the view that reality is out there, objective, physical, and independent of what we believe about it. But we never experience that reality directly. Every last scrap of our external experience is a virtual reality. And every last scrap of our knowledge, including our knowledge of the non-physical words of logic, mathematics, and philosophy, and of imagination, fiction, arts, and fantasy, is encoded in the form of programs for rendering of those worlds in our brain's own virtual reality generator. So it is not just science, reasoning about the physical world that involve virtual reality. All reasoning, all thinking, and all external experiences are forms of virtual reality. These things are physical processes which so far have been observed in only one place in the universe, namely the vicinity of the planet Earth. We shall see that all living processes involve virtual reality too, but human beings in particular have a special relationship with it. Biologically speaking, the virtual reality rendering of the environment is a characteristic means by which human beings survive. In other words, it is the reason why human beings exist. The ecological niche that human beings apply depends on virtual reality directly. The bias. We could be said that the imagination can be flawless. But since we have previously studied that the human imagination is relying on memory and schema, we realize that the flaws of the schema form and the mental form make imagination subject to what is called perceptual rigidity, a form of prejudice arising from ignorance. The bias of perceptual rigidity can be likened to a form of functional blindness. This functional blindness has many forms, as Woodrow Wilson noted. Inaccessible knowledge is dead knowledge. And going on, this is my writing here. When we attempt to grasp an overview of the arts, the visualization created is in fact a formation of a virtual reality. The building blocks of this construction are the schema form and the mem form, which come from wherever. In some cases, for some people, it really isn't wherever. Some martial arts teachers have a limited interdisciplinary training, and although their experience might be broad, it may be still restricted, and when in this sense it is which in this sense is a kind of ignorance. And I'm making this point. Instilling your own functional literacy in students is a form of censorship, and a grouping of students by perceived abilities is a form of discrimination. Now, you certainly don't want to say that you propagate illiteracy and advocate discrimination, do you? And that is really important. Now, going back, your motion, why you would do this, and Rockford Institute, Michael Warder makes some comments, but he says, paid teachers rarely marshal evidence and reach conclusions that generate ill will in the payer. Okay, paid teachers, karate sensei, rarely marshal evidence and reach conclusions that generate ill will in the student. The natural consequence is that those who end up controlling the organization are the teachers that produce those values. The existence of such organizations is often dependent upon these teachers, and the standards and subsequent practice can be said to have been formed by the inertia. And exactly what is a real basic comment is this inertia compounded by that Holman. The complaint is not against the method, but rather against making that method into a standard significance. And you have to, that's a little big words for that, but it says, but this is not a ignorant statement. It's really a little bit of preaching to the choir. The complaint isn't against the way you do it, but rather making that way into your standard method. The method of standards is really what he's saying here. It isn't the fact that we do something wrong. It's the fact that we make the standards and test the student on it's the problem. So we know the one steps aren't correct, so we know we don't know where they come from, but you do it anyway. And you do it that way because it's easier to do it because students like it. They pay more money, you get more students. And then you consider yourself some really advanced learning mind. And it says, going on, it says, to teach the concept of self that you're using, parables relating to the application of things self may be used. That's the best thing to do. And so what are the parables? The parables are the ipon kumites. They're the parables because they're ones that allow the student to have a grasp of things without really actually doing them. And they're, for example, one of the parables I'm really fond of, and I make everybody else mad, and I know I do, but I'll say it anyway, is the idea of the Christian parable of the Good Samaritan, which is in both the Jewish and the Christian Gospels. Not the Gospels, but they're certainly in the Bible. And all the good people walk by this bad guy, and this guy in trouble, and they don't do anything. And this guy, that's not a Christian person, walks by and this poor guy and helps him, whatever. So the moral of the thing is real clear that the godly people acted in an ungodly method, and the ungodly people acted in an ungodly method. The trouble that is that the ungodly guy who acted in a godly way is going to hell, and the ungodly people and the godly people that act in an ungodly way are going to heaven. So this is a flip from your mind, and you have to resolve this for yourself, but it presents a certain problem. So the story of the Good Samaritan is a really big problem that presented you have to resolve. Didn't this problem ever come to you this way, Michael, again? Did this ever come to you, this kind of a problem, ever rise in your mind? I'm going again what I did yesterday. I'm saying the same thing. You start to fighting. And you get ready, and I'll just get back there. And you step some punch, 1, 2. Didn't that ever come to you that that's kind of idiocy, that's an ad hominem or something like that, didn't it? The ignorantia is actually what it is, which means a position of stupidity, isn't it? Okay, and the idea of an ad hominem, I'm not preaching to the choir, but you have to understand what choir it is. The choir is my students. So I'm teaching students, preaching to them when I'm teaching at the same time. It's like a little like this, you know. Just find out what you're interested in. You get a class of karate people, find out what you're interested in, and teach it. And when you like when I'm teaching you, and when I get a snicker out of a laugh, I put it down the book here, and then next time I put it read it. Hey, isn't that what we're doing? Look, you guys have known me for years. You know me for how many years? I mean, years and years and years. Have you seen me develop as an instructor and learning and my journey? You should be with me. You're moving with me in my learning. You see, as I'm learning and I'm developing my thoughts, so I went through the book and put a cohesive idea of the importance of a core knowledge and the method by which we get our information and how it's affected by our own reflections of being, and how the metaform schema for which we create our mind has created our particular way of gathering knowledge. Now we can go make the point of the historical accuracy of our information and how it's been proven over the years and reading where it doesn't come from. And this can be taken by other people, and they can say, well, it's so for them too. Let them prove it for themselves. It's not true, because they don't put it up for discussion. I've been the head of the World Referee Council. I've been the big wig in jiu-jitsu, judo, and everything for years and years. And I put the points out, and I've been argued by the very best, and I've never been defeated on the arguments, ever, ever, ever. So I have put my ideas out for argument, for really big argument. Excuse me, I slipped all over the place. For big argument. And I have not been defeated at the point yet. So in that sense, and I don't want to go on here forever, because we are going to go to the floor and do the morning exercises, and we're going to really do some work today. But I'm going back to the some of my little comments here, and just a few of the short things I want to make today. And about the Kwanmukan pattern, we'll get into that later. Let's see where is this exactly I want to get into. Well, I can't see it right now, so I'm going to get into this back here, I think. But in any event, you're talking about the ideas of believing things, and I think this particular quote is just quite excellent. And they say people can't explain the initial underlying links of chemistry and physics and the advancement of levels of order found in life and the universe. The explanations are, now here's the point, the explanations are expected to be understood in our own terms. It reflects the human inability to possess the means of universal understanding. So you can only understand things in your own terms. And that's all you can do. And you don't possess the means, if you don't understand the terms, you don't possess the means of understanding. And that's where we really get ourselves into a great difficulty. So, I've always liked this quote from Alice in Wonderland, the White Queen. And I've used this many times when I'm talking to my wife. I said, sometimes I believe as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast. And anybody watching the news knows all about that, right? And then going down a little more, and I'm talking again, connected flaws in the creative process arising from the martial artist boredom with themselves. I'm going on, so I'll flip the page. And these are a series of quotes that I would like you to remember because they're good for you to use. They echo Groucho Marx when he said, these are my principles. They make up stories, see? If you don't like them, I have others. We are overcome with fickle transcendentalism. Remember that. Fickle transcendentalism. Sometimes people are personification of that. And then going on, Gandhi talks about this baloney, these principles, flipping principles so easily. He says, I will not let anybody walk through my mind with their dirty feet. That's the reason many times I won't practice with people, because they're walking through my mind with their dirty feet and I'm not going to permit it. And the guy said, well, what are you doing? This is life, isn't it? The guy said, yeah, this life is a test. If it had been an actual life, you would receive further instructions on where to go and what to do. And the guy says, well, that sounds like a bunch of talk to me too. And the guy says, yeah, it sure is. But remember, in a single day, Samson slew 1,000 Philistines for the job one of the ass. Every day, thousands of dreams were killed with the same weapon. And so, in that sense, we sort of have the, some of those quotations are really entirely true. And they really are very important for us to understand that. Now, in that light, we have a series of morning drills. And these morning drills are quite important. We need to do these. We've done all the time. And today, I can comment, we're going to be working on Kata. And I turn to page 49 of the text. I'm talking an awful lot, but we really are in a seminar here. We will work out plenty, but it is important for you to understand it. And it's important for you also to realize that the leadership of the Kwanmukan are not idiots. We really are studying, we're really researching, and this is very difficult. It's also extraordinarily difficult for me to go through this 3-4 times and rephrase it every time. We have people coming in the afternoon, people coming tomorrow, and for you people who heard me say it yesterday, you realize I completely rephrased it today. Is that not true? So you all get it anyway. Commentary and flexibility for advanced something or other. And remember, this is just loose things. My black line on that means it is loose. You can not always retain the status of a superior athlete, and there is no master's category in martial arts similar to the master's games in modern competitive sports. In the arts, you never need to be overly tough, and you still can increase, although your physical prowess might decline. The secret of the arts lies in small things. That is why we present this article for study. Many athletes strive for the warmer limits of flexibility. I don't want to say something. Flexibility, and in so doing, and without proper understanding, they damage their bodies. Which will probably be. One of the first priorities of flexibility, of the type necessary to good karate technique, is to establish good body balance, especially pelvic balance. What is normally done indirectly, this is just my notes, so you can't really read this. What is normally done is an indirect flexibility with the ability to perform high kicks. Ignore that. This is a real mistake, as waist, shoulders, and neck flexing are also important. What I'm really saying is that people try to stretch towards the direction of kicking high, and really that's not the important. The waist, the shoulders, and neck flexing are much more important than that. People are destroyed more by neck and the waist and hip problems than they are by any kind of inability to kick high. Stretching is a science, and karate does not have physical, biomechanical, or muscular requirements separate and apart from other sports. The methods used in other sports are applicable to our sport. For example, we should learn to use the ballet bar, the arm exercises from the throwing, and boxing sports, and leg exercises from field and track, etc., etc., etc. It goes on about yoga and on down. This is, I personally think that the stretching in the morning and in the evening are both vital. About 15 minutes of each should be sufficient. However, the morning exercises should be loose and long, and be designed towards setting the body to perform the day's duty. The later exercise should be set to prepare the body for the hard exercise of our arts. Sport-specific stretching drills can be ballistic in nature, and at that time can be designed to tax the system. The morning drills should be easy, relaxed, and accommodate the non-athletic state of the body. And they also are really, really important for being able to perform actions without prior warm-up. So our things are different than other people. We can perform serious athletic action before we're warming up. Instructors are really prone to that. When the instructors do that, they become injured, and they become worse and worse and worse. The injury becomes aggravated, more aggravated, more aggravated. Gradually, they can't practice. So the morning exercises are designed to provide a flexibility, protecting your body and balancing your body against unplanned exercise. Now, a lot of people don't agree with that. And a lot of people don't do these. And you can look at those people, and you can see that they don't do them. It doesn't take very long to occur. You could have soccer players, you could have basketball players, you can have racquetball players, and everybody says, well, I'm doing very well. But they didn't, and they won't. The arrogance of youth is incredible. These things must be put in place. And every morning I do these without exception. And there's a reason, with a broken back, smashed feet, and with a broken neck, and 20% disability and a broken neck, and broken elbows, and about everything you can imagine. I'm still doing as well as most of you guys. And I'm 67 this year. And I'm doing better than most of you. And I hope that's an example to you. So we're going out on the floor, and we're going to do the morning exercise. We're going to do the wombo, and we're going to have a really hard day's work. I am, after lunch, coming back here and continue the lecture for another half an hour, and then the lectures will pretty much stop, and we'll go to the floor. Right? In the meantime, if there's anything about this that you don't agree with, or you find incompatible or inconsistent, or you see editing possibilities, this is new writing. There's all kinds of editing stuff involved, because I had serious stuff here I just struck out, so I would have lost in a mess. But the other stuff is really quite dense. Okay? She. Oh, you know, that's really good. You're really great. Hitch. E. She. Go. Each. Knee. She. Go. Remember, you don't have to do things 1,000 times or kill yourself with any one exercise. It's a series of the whole thing. Now, think apart, let's look at the relationships to make sure our mind structure is set. And so we go through it. Once you do this, your partner sort of sit down and sit up, and I run around the Okay, you guys sit up. Now watch. Remember, we have an intrusive posture and reductive posture. And in these things, these are the relationships that are normally done 5-10 minutes in a very short time. But they build a consistency idea. And if you do this, you will get the question you saw me they said that and so far back. Okay, wow. One of the requirements, 3 ways to do the clock. So you get a little, 3 ways to do the clock. No.
Slow without counters. No, fast counters, fast.
That's right. Okay, so slow to start. Just do this one. That's the first way. You see what I'm doing? We'll just do these 2 to start with, okay? We'll some more. They're very simple actions. So, these are the same action. 1, 2, 3. And to extend my chi, I'm looking over at Mokuja whiskey there. See, I'm practicing these. I'm putting them in my mind. You've seen this action before. Real simple action. I'm starting that close so I can put my hands on his head. That's how far away I'm starting. He's not going to second, but 1, 2. Watch the action. Nice. Or if I do it simultaneously. Then I have to drop. To drop my body down here, so I drop rather than even advancing the foot. So if you do more quickly, ice. I've actually displaced it. Watch. Ice. See my body? I'm going to hit you. I've actually displaced it. See, with the idea is what you would really want to do later. But before we do that, we do it. Then the second technique, you attach. Hey! And I move from here. Attack. 1, 2. See? Hey! And I this way, whatever. But this way. Hey! 1, 2. And this way. Or in a more complete sense, they won't even block. Hey! 1, 2. See, move this way. So let's say that we'll do it this way right now. Hey! Okay? Or this way. Hey! Just simply check the shoulder here. Hey! The real block is never done here. Hey! It's always done with the check. So this is normally done for checking the shoulder this way. It's normally the block. And the hand then, either this block returns down to here. If he's almost a block, possible to try to get the hand. So the shoulder is the point. 1, 2. So. Hey. Hey. All right. Hey. 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 Okay, that's not hard enough. Hey. 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 Nice. That's the kind of technique I want. Now this time, maybe you get to do it. Hey. And when he does that, if we check the head with you. Hey. Well, whatever. But you can see the possibilities, right? Okay, when you're behind, you can hit with the heel on the lower back, right? But the technique is strictly a short jamming technique. And you hit here. Depending upon the action. You're here, here, a short side, force me on the shoulder. This is the same kind of hit. Boom, bam, so let's combine this with Johnny Lyman from here. Okay, so here, boom, and I hit his leg. You see now, right? I hit his leg. And I can really say somebody come in behind me. So let's do it over here. The scissors are going to get back to the way behind. And I drop it, and I kick, and I come forward. So this also is the kick, this direction after the kick. So when I'm dropping here, this has a lot of meaning. But a kick way is just 1, 2. Okay, you can try that a little bit. Try it a couple times. Here. 1, 2. You know range? 1, 2. Real basic, kicking hard. And I can avoid it by stepping here. 1, 2. Right? I can actually do this. Can I do this? Why? 1, 2. And since if I'm bumping his body, I make this more conscious for him. I'm starting the S, he starts his action, I bump him. But it's better bumping with an elbow. 1, 2. See the difference? 1, 2. Now the range is ready for that whatever I want to do, right? Look how easy this is. I just take it out, you see, punch in front of him. 1, 2. But this was danger, right? So I can pick it this way. 1, 2. But bumping the body. 1. Can you see it? 1. I'm standing here. This is 1990 steps to punch. I'm bumping. So I want you to practice a little bit for this position. Stand and punch. Just bump. Just bump. I'm bumping this way, and now you can see that roll off, and now they go. So a really easy yoke from the catch watch. He doesn't do that. 1, 2. See how easy that is? And it has a previous principle, bumping through. Because it's from head, now I'm doing it, boom, like here. And he's so close to me that he cannot cover his balance. I don't let him move in, because if he moves forward to punch, I know how to not have balance point. And what do you call it? A goosh. Go ahead. How far do you want to go? Oh, look, here, the guy is standing right here. 1. Right there. And he punches in the nose. That's right. When he stands right here, you don't want to punch in the nose. That's what I want. It's a real close no step, one step, two step, three step, right? And I go pow, and you just drop it. Okay? Then we'll do a two-step movement, which I'm sure you don't know. Go ahead. One step, two steps, okay? One, two. You see? This is what we're doing. One, two. And I want you to do that. Just like, just pump. That's what guys doing it. Now, if you do that process, you use your hand across, you get a hand on the head, that's wonderful. But that bump is what's the pumping. See, the ranging is wrong. And in the old days, we used to do that all the time. You got to do a technique to bump it, you know? Now, you can call it jamming, but it's really not jamming because what you do is close distance, so it's really bumping. So try that. I'm sure it is. flying punch. I have a body crash. One, good. I'm crashing the body. I'm moving. I'm crashing. I am not doing my punch. I'm crashing the body. So that's just kind of a touch. Now I can do a little simple one. Barely photograph. You don't want to go on. Now this type of body creation is called two-step writing. It's two-step writing. Truly, it's equanimity in 2 steps. But it also has assumed another value now, because even though you all are experts in equanimity, you'll have great trouble with this. Isn't that true? I can't how to rock and shoot. Separation technique. So in the Kwanmukan, the body is constantly in motion. We stop. Everything's constantly moving. You know, we're constantly moving inside. We really stop. And the stop points generally aren't the hit points. The stop points are the points where you're regrouping yourself. So to regroup yourself, there you stop. Such a system where we turn around. You know, we came where a blind figure like this, and we do the front kick. We got to have somebody to kick. That's the guy that will hang us like that. That's a major problem. And you carry the one thing into the other. You as teachers need to interrupt that before that fault gets set. You have to separate at the beginning. But as you become more advanced, that has to be removed. And so the instructional system has to place something here and get back out. Much like we do in sport, whether you watch the maybe not. Whether the axes are down in flight, maybe not. Like that. So you put something in and you readjust it to get back out again. But it's so firmly in that it becomes a mind break that makes one technique to the other, and it's, because the first thing is done this way, it destroys the efficacy of the second. Because I'm really careful when you look at that. And this is one such thing. Again, I didn't eat, but it's all right. Jump! Hand! Okay, 1, 2, 3, because of the two restricted muscular contractions. So where are you in your book? I'm just paraphrasing, it's really important now, but I'm going right now to page 17. Page 17. Now this you have to understand, and after we do this, we're going to head to the floor and go to work on it. I have to let dinner sort of settle a little bit, right? All right. So during the performance of the Kwanmukan Symposium pattern, careful attention be placed on the element of relaxation. Relaxation. Everybody repeat. Relaxation. 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 Stand up, and shake your arm and say relaxation. Relaxation. Shake your arm. Relaxation. Sit down. So what's the number one element? Relaxation. Okay. In many cases, the application of the maximum power is diminished by the type of braking action necessary for stop distance control techniques such as a normal 4-fist punch. So 1, 2, stop right here. You do so quick, so fast, you have to start stopping before it starts. And that causes all kinds of trouble. This braking action is necessary to demonstrate the hard snap of a perfectly stopped punch, and because the quickness of that perfect punch must start before or during the extension action. When you crack a whip, boom, does the end of the whip stop? Or does it go boom? Does it stop or what? What? It goes, moves, doesn't it? It never stops. Can you name a one applied force that actually stops outside of a bolt that kills a horse? You know, like in here, a little bolt shots out and he kills a horse. Outside of that, what do you think stops? Even a hammer driving a nail doesn't stop. In other words, the performer's punching against the braking action, which of course alters the quickness and power of the technique, but it does create snap. Though snap is not an element of this form at all. It's not important. In the performance of the Kwanmukan pattern, and I'm using pattern instead of form, because this is a pattern of rules. You know, the rules of the Kwanmukan. It's a pattern. And the pattern is the correct term. The word form, I don't know where they got that. That's somebody's bad translation. The breaking in the performance of the Kwanmukan pattern, the braking action is diminished by the application of the principle of strike while moving or hit, move, hit. We feel that the maximum results may be obtained if you are moving with, not against the strike. You must move with the technique. So your body is moving as moving, you're hitting. And that's what creates that terrific shot, jarring shot. In this sense, in doing the Kwanmukan pattern, performers should be able to sense or feel the difference between the muscles which are movers, supporters, and those that relax for the moment. So if I'm kicking here, I got movers, the supporters, and my shoulders are relaxed. You have to feel the difference, and many times you cannot. When guys are doing a technique, and they start the technique, and I just start the kicking, and this here, these are the movers, this is pretty much the stabilizers, and these are relaxed. Why does this have to move? These guys do this way. And it's almost like some kind of spastic action. And that it really has to be guarded against. You have to feel it. So only by separating the points can you feel it. Now, power through movement. Powerful incoming actions are best neutralized by circularity, not through the application of opposing power. However, it is necessary to understand the opposing power. Lucinda.
Yes, sir.
Now, if I'm moving here and I punch for her like this, if I stick her in the face with something, the only defense that works for her, the only one that I know of that works, is when the hand returns here. So if I stick her, she brings the hand here. Then she punches to me. And now I catch this and I'm moving across the eyes. The only action across this is to take my hand and move it around. That's the only one possible. Now, from this position, the only position is one to the eyes. And she punches. One, and I cut with the eye. 1, 2. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. See, this is what we're doing. So in effect, I'm going for her eyes, poking for the eyes. 1, 2. And then I cut the eyes. 2, 1. I go 2. See? That one should be this way. And then I go and rig for her eyes again. 1, 2. And then I go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right for the eyes. And so this is an exercise. What to happen when a guy sticks in front of you and does exactly this. I've been in before, you know it's good. How you, women, how you usually, come on. Because you're one of the senior guys, right? And you enjoy being here. Yeah, sorry, thank you. Enjoy being up here. And you know how it is, I say I have a martini here, and olive in the martini. You've heard the routine of pimento and that, and a toothpick in there, I'm going to snip your eye. So I'm going to touch you right here, and you put your hands up. You know, you can put your hands where you want to. I'm going to hit you here. And you can defend yourself. Well, it won't work from there. You probably better stand this way, but your hands are probably better. Now you're ready, really ready? When my hands are on the martini and I can poke this toothpick guy, you see? He can't get away. Now, what did you see? You didn't see it, did you? You didn't see. He didn't bring his hand back. If he brought his hand back in the block, he would have prevented what? What?
From being poked in?
No, he would not have prevented poking the eye. You don't poke eyes, right? Everybody knows you don't poke eyes. Don't you? Close your eye and snip it. Like close your eye and snip your eye. In all technique, the guy does this way. And he'll blow your eye out of your head. It's the same as hitting you with a ball bat. There's a big flash of light, as I said, like St. Paul on the road to Damascus. You fall off your horse and lay on the ground thinking you were struck by lightning. And that's what happens. There's a tremendous pain. Pow-wow. So this is the action. The guy stands there, boom, he hits like that. And the guy thinks he poked, and he hasn't really been poked. He's been snipped.
Okay.
So that's one of the really big characteristics of this. However, the action here, I'm pulling the hand back, is one that the mind can't handle unless it's thoroughly inculcated. The mind can't handle that action any more than when he steps and punches me and I go like this, that he can see that one. That can't be seen because that's underneath the line. See, and that's one of the things that I think somebody made that point there. Thank you very much. Made that point very much. So the circularity of this type of action becomes a critical point. Circularity of hitting becomes an important point. See, so this is what you call circumplane. This is a circularity technique. See, watch. My fingers are moving in a circle. Don't think circularity means this. My hands, my fingers are moving in a circle. And in this hand, my forearm is just rising. And there's a difference of the type of technique. Now, you could argue with the meaning of the word circularity, but we're defining it for you. Okay, we're defining it as we mean it. Okay, now going through. Powerful incoming actions are best neutralized by circularity, not through the application of opposing power. However, it is necessary to understand the application of power. This power is best applied with the open hand as our most move through the target techniques. Now, move through the target techniques are techniques we examine coercion. And I'll use you again, John. I'll be very careful with you not to kill you, I hope. And the word power, by the way, bothers me. I don't like the word, but it conveys an idea. So we're just going to use it as one of those conveyance words. Okay? It doesn't really mean. He starts his technique, and I walk like this right through the technique. That's a coercion. You see so much in the techniques. Do it again. When the guy takes from this one, he just walks right on through. And this would be a type of coercion. I'm just hooking him as I move gently so you can understand the move-through ideas of it. Okay? Thank you.
Sir, is that Kawashi?
I'm picking you up at the very back, aren't you? Yes.
Is that Kawashi or Kazushi?
That's the Kawashi. Kazushi is a central replacement, you might call it. So you replace somebody else's balance with yours. And then as you lower your balance, the guy's balance goes with you. That's the idea of Kazushi, to be accurate. Right? In other words, you make the guy stand on two legs, you're being one up. That one leg flaps, he goes. That's Kazushi. It's not hard to understand. I've been putting out terms before. I'm watching you play with it. Okay. In these moving through techniques, the wrist assumes a circular role. The shape of the hand is actually a shape of the hand wrist, which maintains a powerful, stabilizing wrist and forearm. So in here, this is your chance to practice the hand wrist. Now I have a boxer fracture, and I drove this knuckle back to here, and I cannot close my hand. It's physically disformed. So I do it this way, and I cut my hand, but this is another form of palm that's used all the time. This is quite correct. This is a cupping palm, and it's used quite regularly. It's a Chinese palm. It's okay. And in the hand formations here, when I'm writing about the hand formations, you'll see that is one of the general forms of hands. And the scoop palm. It's on page 46. And number 2 is at the top of the page. And you see the scoop palm of 8 diagrams is called. So this is all right, this is a specific hand. And rather generally it's formed by people who have broken little fingers. Just like the one that was with this, broken knuckle. And of course, I've never broken my knuckles. Yeah, I broke one of John's fist over my fist. Okay, accordingly in the Kwanmukan pattern, many actions are exercised in wrist, hand, forearm functionality. This whole thing is really has to be done. So these are important. When you're turning, these hand actions are important. When I'm turning inside, these are it. Who has a bad wrist? Okay, you don't have a bad wrist. Come up, your wrist is good. Come on. So, like when I'm from here and I'm hitting, he's grabbing my wrist. All the time, my action is this way. You see, like this, as I'm turning. So this action, you see, my wrists are moving this way. It might only move this way, for example. But, so when I'm turning, the wrists are turning like this. This way. Like he grabs my wrist. 1, 2. That kind of an action. Now, a waist shiva, if you grab the wrist, could actually go underneath here and turn over very well and very strong. I can't do it quite like that because I've broken my wrist a couple of times. But a lot of people can go underneath. I usually go over, but it doesn't make any difference. The hand still moves like this. Okay, the angle importance of the elbow placement then assumes a vital importance. The angle of the forearm is, of course, the wrist and shoulder. The correct alignment of which permits to transfer power from legs to torso, striking weapon. Much as when I'm turning here. One. See, if I turn, like for example, come here again, if he's punching for me, slowly, not very slowly, if I hit like this, I'm going to hit my little finger. So generally, the action is this way. You see, which allows my hand. So when I'm turning here, and he's against the technique, I'll turn this way. So I cut this way, to present my little finger, I turn this way. And from here, I hit 2. You see? And after this action, then when he straightens up, I grab this way, and then comes the pull. But actually, the hands are this way. So if I'm moving from here, I turn from here, and I hit this way, I have this kind of an action, which is a very bad, in the basic terms, in French face lock, but it's you can't get out of it. So when I'm bringing my hand from here, 1, 2, 3, 4. See my forearm?
Hi.
It's going straight. From here, 1, 2. And so the angle of the forearm is a critical point. Otherwise, you're not expressing the action. If you don't do it right, that's okay. Because someplace in this form, you're going to start understanding and start doing it right. You just do it automatically, and the form will create the right action. Right?
Right.
Right.
It's like a water pipe creates the direction the water goes. That's a non-sequitur, but it sure sounds good. You know what a non-sequitur is? Something that has no connection with what you're saying. A misplaced metaphor. Okay. Now here's the point. The characteristics of Kwanmukan form. Yeah, this is the thing. I already got the sniffs today. And you know, guys know I had a real serious ear operation years ago. And that whenever I travel, the ear gives me a lot of trouble. And since I have a replaced eustachian tube here, it's not the original one. It's sort of like a constructed from the front cartilage of my ear. It makes me sniff. And so this is really a cold. I'm just a sniffling. And they can call me Snuffy Smith, I guess. I can go up to it. The movements should be integrated with the breath and conscious thought. This harmony allows a necessary unit of spirit and external appearance. Mike Dunphy, name one time when breath and conscious thought are linked. Come on, give me one quick.
Sneeze.
What? No, more quickly. Give me an actual one. Tell me really quickly, when's breath and conscious thought linked?
Yeah.
No, when you talk. When you talk. That's what punctuation marks are for. When I make a sentence and you talk, that's when it's linked. All the time is when it's linked. When you talk. And then if you put the spirit and external appearance are important in the talk, isn't it? See, so this is exactly like speech. It's a physical form of speech. Now you can see it, right? All movement should be integrated with the breath and conscious thought. This harmony allows a necessary unity of spirit and external appearance to come out. Otherwise, how would you get it out? A thinker that is really boring if they don't have that elements. And furthermore, they can't communicate. Because obviously speaking is a breath pattern. Obviously. Okay? Now, despite the powerful actions of the form, a tranquil mind and relaxed body must override any unnecessary tension and agitation. I didn't say all tension, unnecessary.
Right.
Most of the actions of the form are continuous and circular movements, which must be in absolute contrast to the stop actions. That means when the motion goes, I'm going to stop. So when I'm turning here, and after the action, and I turn here like this, I turn here, nice and quiet. Now when I turn here, 1, 2, boom, boom, there's a difference in the action. So this has to be very clear. It's stopping action also, besides this means that you cease movement here and you're regrouping. There must be a clear demonstration of movement dynamics, the contrast of quietness and explosive power. So like this, that is sort of in the form. There must be a coordination of the three connections, upper torso and lower. Solidity and pliancy are manifested in these conditions. And as I was saying before, I'm pulling the tech back. There's a difference between the solidity and the pliancy of the body. We'll get into that further on. I need to argue more about that right now. Some movements start with the feet, others from the hara, and still others from the small of the back. The feeling arising from the correct application will be easily understood and apparent to the observer. So you have to understand the feeling of these actions. The feel. And if the people don't feel that, then one thing is to really separate for yourself the actions that start from those different places. To separate the ones that start from the small back. And I think the idea of Zanshin is nonsense here. The idea of Kimi is nonsense because it's more important to understand the impetus of where it starts and what the intended target is. If the two are correct, then the other can't be wrong. In my opinion. As well as the Kwanmukan pattern, there are inside and outside actions as well as pulling, pressing, and stopping actions, all of which start in a different manner, as though all movements from the heart. This must be clearly demonstrated. Now, the head. The head's held erect and natural. And facial expressions are discouraged except during shouting. Shouting when? I don't know, wherever you want to. When you feel like shouting, shout. You know?
Right.
If you win the lottery, you go to the foreign song and say, hooray, I won the lottery, go back to the foreign, you know? But whatever you want to do, shout. Okay? And they shout differently. David shouts all the time, she shouts sometimes, I sometimes don't shout at all, like rock, you know? Trunk. The trunk should be held normal with the chest either in or out, their abdomen moving freely with the breathing. There's no discernible tension in the shoulders. The breathing should be from the diaphragm, not the intercostal rib muscle, because it interrupts the movement of the body. So when you breathe, you can turn. There. I can't turn, see? So you be careful about the breathing. And I know the Japanese, Figurogari, and Ibuki breathing, I don't care about that. We breathe anyway. Just make sure how this breathing starts. The singers don't worry about different kinds of breathing. The singer can sustain a tone and sing better than anybody doing Okinawan karate. Anybody. But their methods are not Ibuki and Nagari. They don't separate the two. They don't separate them all. But they do know how to use the diaphragm, and that's for sure. Waist. The waist is the foundation of all body movement and is the pivotal point of movement. Arm insertion. Weight must be kept relaxed, and the spine erect so that the tension does not impair the flexibility and coordination of movements which are vital to application of power in this form. True strength lies in the flexibility of the waist. When I'm turning a big waist action, that's the reason I'm so powerful on the floor here, because my waist moves. And in a perfect case, if I come up again, I can stand here like this, and my waist goes, and turns completely around, even though I had a broken back. And I had, so as we said before, watch the flexibility of my waist. I pull his shoulder here, and I say, go ahead, hit me. Go ahead, the other way. No, the other way. A hard time with it, right? I got mine. See how see the flexibility? Watch my waist. My waist is moving. See it? My intercostal rib muscles are opening up. Watch it. Okay, turn our sister going to. Pull aside. Yeah, move it that way. One, see? Look at this. See? I can still get that. That's waist flexibility. And that may seem like a small thing, but it is not. And then judo is critical. So the waist here, and of course the exercise of walking on the back is one of the best waist exercises. I did that all the time. I always used to do it. I walk on my shoulder, I could really run up the floor like he does with his toes. Okay? Hips. The hips move easily under the waist and should not express any tension that which might affect proper movement of the waist or legs. So when I bring it up like this, boom, that affects the tension at times. You have to be really careful that kind of action, though that is a natural reaction to movement. And it's not to be thought wrong, but it's not to be artificially placed either. You see? Not. And then the legs, the connection of the hips, knees, and feet must be coordinated to provide balance and stability. The legs must be slightly bent during the movement. For example, I'm here, I'm just here, and I turn around, 1, 2. And I turn back, 1, 2. See, my legs are slightly bent. There's a slight dip, because in moving, if I don't dip, I'll rise.
Hi.
You can't help it. Because of the foot. When the toe comes up like this, the body rises. So to keep the body from rising, you lower and bend the knees. So I'm here, I just turn from here, I just come from technique. And I turn around there this way, and when I come back, I bend my knees, and my heart stays flat. If I don't bend my knees, my heart rises, and you bob like this. And so the knees have to flex. And that's something that we're doing very poorly. Most people are very bad on that. And this is in the still posture, the feeling of pulling of the thighs and the tension flex varies according to the stance and must be fully experienced. The feet are placed according to the movement required and should maintain no unusual agitation. For example, when I'm doing this, there's a pulling action between here. And when I take a stance of this kind, there's a tension and pulling in. Now, like, this is balanced against the pushing out, so that's what's called leg flex. So do you really have to stabilize that? You don't stabilize with anything except that pulling and pushing out. And you can tell when people aren't stabilized, that means that their muscles aren't coordinated for that action. And that action is important. And that action, by the way, is trained through the roundhouse kick. So the roundhouse kick is not important. That is part of the action of the roundhouse kick. It helps. And that deals a lot with the psoas muscles. And you guys, if you know what the psoas muscle is, you ever seen the pork tenderloin? That's a pig psoas, okay? Arms. The arm and the movement of the arms is often with or against the action of the body. And great care must be taken in placement of the elbows. The shoulders should be relaxed and down with no cervical tension, and the elbows held in a similar manner to protect the gaze. In most Chinese arts, the fingers are extended, the wrist held down. Okay, now watch. If I'm moving this way, watch my back. Right? I go. You don't see any hard rising in my shoulders. My back is pretty much so. Right? So I'm turning, and I'm going to actually make the action. See? And my body is completely flexed. There's no secondary actions taking place here. But these actions are complete. My arms aren't rising this way. See? Because I have this balance in the thing. And so that's very important for you. The second thing is, and the last and least, don't simply walk to the form. Express the emotion through body movement. The form is a story of conflicts you encounter in your journey and how you resolve it. There are fixed conflicts and recommended solutions. Of course, or it wouldn't be a form. But feel free to put your own content and abilities into the form. If you, in your own interpretation, remember that it's better to block from inside, in, out, this way, rather than reverse or downward. It's better. I didn't say you can avoid the other. If your choice of contact is that better go this way than this way. This way is not so good a block. This way is good. This is a great strike, bad block. This is a great block, bad strike. That's not bad. Okay, with that in mind, let's get out and break form down. Yeah.
On the inside to out, would that also be like the cross body?
No, that cross is a block. Yeah, that cross. But this is not a block.
Inside out?
Yeah, this is inside out. But sometimes it's not a really good block. But sometimes it's absolutely necessary. But because there's nothing else to block, this hand's occupied. This is the one that's blocked. But when I'm turning from here, this is my lead hand, and this is when it comes across.
Right, but would it still be considered the inside out, like this one?
Yeah, that's considered inside out. It's not the best block. In several things, you know, it's not a block. Actually, it's a strike, right? It's a strike to the face. Now remember, all the time, I'm hitting this way with this and whacking that way with that and hitting underneath with this. For example, this action here, I'm coming up under like this, and I usually get like this. I have a telephone in my hand. I'm putting my telephone out of order here. But he decides to tackle me. Here, see, he puts his head down, boom. Now, don't do it easy, because I don't want to have to whack you. So go real slow. And I hit you with this under the face this way, see? And then I step forward and I hit you on the head. And then I step forward and I hit you again. So this is what this action here is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But this is actually a rock action. There's times when you pick up stones, just like this action. I pick it up, and I throw it in his face, ouch. I throw it in his face and I hit him. You know, exactly that kind of an action. So you got to really be careful of that. Okay, now, getting back to what we're doing, we're going to go onto the floor and start the kata. Now, okay, who knows, any more questions? Who doesn't know the first part, first form? The one. Now, who's really bad on the first one, too?
Try
See the action, how I'm smoothing things out? You guys are jerking. Smooth it out. All right. Good. Smooth. Don't get in a hurry. Let's go with knee marks. See how you like the speed. Okay. We are at 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Around. Take the action backwards. Slowly without letting it burn. Kick. Up. Up. 1, 2. 1, 2. Over. Under. Over. Under. Pull your hips back. 2. 1. Pull your hips back. 2. Pull your hips back. 1, 2, turn. Back up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Yep. Over 2. 1, 2, big action. 1, big action. 1, 2. Okay, now 2, 3, now you reach. You're going to pull with your hips. Now, see how you have mistake. If you're this way, and you don't do 1, 2, you can't step back this way for the throw. You're already back. So you're like this way. Okay, pick, flick, and then step and pull. 1, 2, 1. 2, 3. All right. Okay, now turn. Keep your body low. 1, 2, pow. Body relax. Okay, now turn. 1, 2, rotate. Where your hips. Now, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Up and down. 2. Now pull back. Step back and pull. With the grow your body. 1, 2. Pull back. 1, 2. Okay, pull back. 1, 2. See, that isn't fast. Third bar. Hesitation. You have to pull it first, right forward to heel first. Straight up and forward. Driving forward, heel first. Coming back to pull it. Do not get down there. Hands open here, and your body shifts to here. The hands open to here, and your body shifts to here. Now that I'm here, with my butt in, stand here, I bring the foot here, and I'm going to move forward. See, I know where to rise. So I want you to 40 foot angle. The 40 angle is really low. 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's do this one. 1, 2. The hips are pretty shift. Now, after you hit your shift, and now hold again, the foot again, and then the body rise. So the technique, the first technique for you, after coming here, I come from here, I'll say, it doesn't matter. Which one? What? 1, 2, 1, 2, watch my hips. That's the 40 hand. The next action, my hips are moving here. I'm So when I'm doing the first 40 hands, I'm really moving on this. I'll drop the right knee. 1. I'm dropping down this way. 1, 2, 1. And I'll push out this way. 1. See? 2. I don't care about this back leg. Like this way. 1. I don't care about dropping this down. I just push forward. And if there's this push, I push forward. 1, 2, 1. Yeah, push forward. 1, 2. Just to push forward. So we're here and push forward. Push. Push your body more. You need a knee. Push. Push. Now push. Now from here, close the body this way. Now you're still down. When you get up for it. Down. And your body pushes that way too. Push down. Down. Open up. Push your body low. Push low. Push low and hit 2. And you're real low. Stay low. Nobody's shoulders behind her. Actually, they're low. Okay, good. That's the idea. So the idea is to push your body way down this way. So half muscle for you than that. I hit it. Like this. 2. I hit it on the arm. That has action motion in that locomotor. See, with this, action, locomotor action, the other action is play action. Typically my first. Okay, again. Yeah, you're my second. Okay, Debbie, you're on. Here you go, left body block. Left body block. You're moving. So when you come back up, you grab down this and turn. 1, 2. If the hand's on the outside, you can't see that. Let's hit it like this way. 1, front body block here. See like you block 1, 2. 1. I have it in the I give everybody trouble. Go ahead. What do you call it? Don't worry, I hear a thing before I got to you. Good. Good relaxation. Lucy, don't out. Hey, you know, wait a minute, you guys all gotta buy your orders from me, and I give you proper commission, okay? That's the reason, don't go buying yours anywhere else, from me, you can get them from part of it. Thank you.
So now, roll action, kakuke, ski. Back to the block. Nekwashi. Tsunekake, roll action, and ski. Tsunekake, roll action. Okay, let's just take that. Start from the door. Okay? Set. Roll action. Kakuke, ski. Tsunekake, roll action. Kakuke, ski. Roll action. Tsunekake, roll action. Kakuke, ski. Everybody got that? Okay, to the left. Set. Okay, now push your foot down. Slide back a little bit. Come across, pull back, ski. And up. Okay. Tsunekake, bring this in down. As you step through, bam, poke. Okay. Back the other direction. Okay, now roll action. go back to here. Here, and then we're going to go here. Okay? Step back, strike, after you kick sand, strike, poke. Back the other direction. Roll action. After you get a ski, kick sand, roll action. After you get a ski. Everybody got that? Hey, okay. Go from the beginning. Oh! You said you had it. Okay. Yeah, good job. Yeah, good job. I like your simple part. You like it? Your. Okay, up. Roll action. Kick. Nice. Okay, after here, step back. Okay, now shift, boom, shift again. Kick the sand, strike, poke. To the rear. Roll action. Okay, ski. Kick the sand, roll. Ski. Okay, here we go. Next move. Block. Block. Low strike. Back up on arm. Strike. Pull in. Strike. Pull. Hook. And draw for action. Everybody got that? No, sir. Let's see where I'm at. Okay. Right here. Okay. Now, step, one step apart. Up, down, shift, over, up, strike, hold, draw. We'll do that again. Okay. When you change hand of gesture, a lot of times you'll do this kind of action. Okay? Knowing where this is very important. You want to hit that edge on the arm right here. Okay, so just I'll try to do it with okay, so here. Block, block, strike, strike. You never want to let your hands off the way. Okay, that's very important. Over here, block, strike, block, strike. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going back to dig in. The movement I'll just go through right quick is I'm kicking the sand up. Okay. Now I come back around, blocking here, striking here. Okay. Coming back around and block again. Okay. Everybody see that? That's the difficult part. Okay. Okay, let's go back. Get over here. Okay, ready? Block. Block. Here. Back up. Strike. Pull back. Pull. Pull up. Everybody ready? No, right in front of you, Mike. Now over here. Right here. Just, you want to kick up with it. Okay? Your hands should be together. Next thing you're going to slide out. This is like a low block and a strike. Okay? I'm going to have it down like this. Do that again. Let's do it over here. One. Okay. Let's do it together. That's all. Here. Block. advance. With that same hand down here at the strike, that's extra block, switch down at the knee, back up into the armpit, and into the neck. Pull back into the face, or the neck. Once again. Pull up, up, shift out, block, strike. Up, and up, yeah. Okay, that's hard to tell as well. Okay. Strike, block. Kick stand. Strike. Okay. Right. Hey! Hey! Now, you might say, what am I doing there? Well, what am I doing there? Mike, will be with it. There you go. I did a strike. I come back here. I catch and I rip. Okay? Catch what's loose and rip it down. Okay? You like that? She likes it. You like it harder? Fancy ball. There you go. Block, strike, shift, block, strike, strike. Now this is dynamic. There's a lot of stuff. Close in there. Okay. Here. Block. Strike. Boom. Strike. Step forward. Jump up and step in. Strike. Switch hands. This is the top hand. Now, roll. Tuck your good. Ski. Cocky. Up. Come on. Center cocky. Roll. Tuck your good. Ski. Hey! Hey! Up. All right. Hey. Hey, guys. All right. Start from the beginning. Not a problem. Okay, here we go. Yeah, good guy. Hey. This boy. Come on. Sleep. Ski. Center cocky. Sleep. Cocky spit. Ski. Come on. Sleep. Hey! Hey! Actually, no, you got it. That's all right. And then come on. Okay? How many of you can get that far by yourself? Try. Let's go through this by yourself and see if we get it. Anybody have any questions about what we've just done? Position. Come on. Okay. Should be a nickel icy at this point. Okay. Now, shift back as you're pulling back here. Strike and then go the icy forward. Let's just try that. You're here. Shift back. And strike. And then come out again. Tsunakake, strike, and poke. And then wide over the rest. Okay, let's take that. Up here, shift back, strike, poke. Yorigashi on the poke. Both hands should be like this at this point. Okay, let's go from here. Okay, shift back, strike, poke, and nekarashi. Tsunakake, strike, step in, poke, and then back the other direction. Okay, now, sweep down, hakuke, ski, and come on. Tsunakake, sweep down, hakuke, ski, and we'll hold it right there. Now, go from the beginning and add this to go. Excuse me. What's going with this action? It's a hakuke. Let's take it 5 minutes of go ahead. Get it through the face. A lot of things are so fun. Step back, boom, Yorigashi forward, poke, and come on. Kick the sand. Sweep and strike, poke, and come on. Sweep, hakuke, ki, come on. Kick the sand, hakuke, ki. Okay, let's go again, one more time. And walk. This leg is real slow here. Okay, we'll start with Yoi. Hakuke, ski, come on. Kick the sand. Hakuke, ski. Come on. Kick. Sweep. Hakuke, ski. Come on. Strike. Poke. And up. Kick the sand. This goes to the side of the head and poke to the neck. And then come on to the opposite direction. And sweep. Hakuke. Come on. Sweep. Hakuke. Okay, ready to go forward? Ready. Let's go back just a little bit. Okay, now. Lock. That's it. Now. Step over. Here. Back over. Here. Up to the shoulder. And to the neck. Okay? There we go. pull, poke, and come back. Okay. Let's do that again. Okay, here we go. Block, block. Shift, shift, strike, poke, and draw and draw. Okay. Take the start to hand that part. Hey. Up, strike, 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 hook, and draw. Okay. Now this is the part, I'll do it